Thank you.
So my name's Andrew Connolly. Most of you know me. I'm one of the nurse managers on our inpatient unit here at St. Francis Hospice. And I'd like to welcome the Taoiseach here this morning, Reverend Fathers, sisters, government officials, representatives, staff and volunteers. And I'm welcoming you to our 30th anniversary tree planting ceremony. And this tree is very special because it's being planted as a recognition for all our staff and volunteers that have worked here in the hospice here in Raheny, here in Blanchardstown and in Raheny at St. Francis Hospice Dublin over the last 30 years. And we're very honoured that the Taoiseach has joined us here this morning. And firstly now I'd like to call on the chairman of our board here at St. Francis Hospice, Dr. Dermot McCarthy, to say a few words.
Thanks, Andrew, and it is a great honour, Taoiseach, for having you to join us this morning, this beautiful sunny day, for an important event in the year of celebration, the 30th anniversary of St. Francis. And we're gathered to plant a tree, a magnolia tree, which marks this milestone and honours the story of St. Francis Hospice, but particularly the story of the staff and volunteers who have made it what it is over those 30 years. Anniversaries are a time for reflection, and looking back over 30 years, we can see how much has been achieved for those requiring specialist palliative care within the community. 2 hospices, services which include inpatient units, hospice daycare, outpatients, bereavement services, and an extensive network of care provision by the community palliative team, all of which is supported by our education, administration and contract staff and volunteers. And none of this could happen without the dedication, the passion, the commitment and loyalty of staff and volunteers past and present. The magnolia tree which is being planted is of a species that's graced the earth for millennia. Now, it was named for Dr. Manuel. Not many people know this. Dr. Manuel was the father of modern botany, and he was professor of medicine in the University of Montpellier in the 17th century. So the magnolia represents, I suppose, the healing qualities of nature, and in particular, the magnolia, when it's in full bloom, is reflective of the delicacy and grace of the care that's provided by you to our patients and their families every day. As staff and volunteers, your professionalism, dedication and commitment in caring for patients and their families at their most intimate time is deeply appreciated and greatly valued. It is, in fact, the heart of the service provided by St. Francis. And we're proud as a board of the contribution of each staff member and volunteer, your expertise, knowledge, talents and gifts. The loving care that's felt by families is reflected in our visitor books and the letters that we receive weekly from those who've experienced that care. Patients and their families, whether in their own home or here at the hospice, feel supported, and we're privileged to be allowed to accompany them on that journey. For example, one family wrote, "When a person you love is very sick and perhaps at their most vulnerable, it can be very difficult to entrust them to strangers. There are no strangers in Francis Hospice, only caring, loving professionals who treated our brother as if he was one of their own. We cannot begin to express our gratitude for the loving, respectful, tender care each and every member of the team bestowed not only on our brother, but on us as his family. We will be eternally grateful to you all. And another wrote, we're so grateful for the kindness and support you showed to Dad during his 8 weeks illness with cancer. We can't possibly express how important your service was to us as a family during what was the most difficult time of our lives. Our father spoke so highly of every person he met in your service, both as an inpatient and home care patient. He spoke of the home care nurses who visited him and made him as comfortable as possible. He particularly enjoyed speaking with the chaplains at length, who showed him such patience and compassion at every meeting. Once again, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. These messages from families bear witness to your care. You are an extraordinary group of people, filled with gentle human qualities, dignity, respect, compassion, kindness, and love. As we move towards the end of our 30th anniversary year, we hope that each time you look at this magnolia tree, it will remind you of today and of how valued you are by the hospice, the patients, and the families we serve, and the wider community that supports our work so deeply, expressed in particular through the presence of the Taoiseach here this morning. So this is your day of recognition, and thank you.
And now invite Taoiseach Liam Redca to say a few words. Thank you.
Thanks very much, everyone, and thanks so much for inviting me here today. My apologies for being a little bit underdressed. I'm on my way to the ploughing, and I didn't fancy a suit change in the toilets today anyway. First of all, just really want to say what a pleasure it is to be with you here this morning. Really want to thank Dermot for the invitation to be here, and Fintan as well. Knowledge, I think I've seen some members of the council here. Emer Curry is here, and perhaps one or two other members of the local authority as well, and Ted Leddy's here too. So thanks very much for having all of us. And I suppose really the purpose of today is to honour all the volunteers and all the staff, both past and present, who've dedicated themselves to helping others. On behalf of the government and the wider community, I want to thank all of you for providing dignified and passionate care over the past 30 years to so many people. Thank you for your willingness to serve, and thank you for helping to improve the quality of life and also the end of life for so many people. Today is also a very special day for your chairman, Dermot McCarthy. In a distinguished career of public service, including many years at the heart of government, Dermot worked to build a peaceful and better future for all. And I want to thank you for your leadership and your hard work, and particularly in the difficult weeks ahead. We're going to do everything we can to defend the many things that were achieved when you were Secretary General of the government. So thank you very much for that, Dermot. I think all of us have lost either a family member or a close friend as a result of cancer or another terminal illness. We know the pain and loss, and we know how grateful we are when somebody shows empathy and care to family members and friends. And that story of empathy and compassionate care is very much the story of St. Francis Hospice over the past 30 years, both here in Blanchardstown and also in Raheny. And the hospice movement thrives in Ireland precisely because of its voluntary spirit, a very similar spirit that infuses organisations like the GAA, many other sporting bodies and charities, and so many organisations in the education sector and arts. It's citizens giving up their valuable time for a greater purpose, deploying their energy, resourcefulness and talents for the benefit of others. And the role of government is to work with you and provide backing and support and the right environment to make all these things possible. And while many people maintain good health into old age, a challenge facing Ireland's health service is ensuring that high quality end-of-life care is available to increasing numbers of people with life-limiting illnesses in all care settings, at home, in the hospital, in the hospice and in nursing homes. And to meet this challenge, government is investing greater resources into palliative care. The total budget for palliative care has increased every year for the past 6 years and stands at 86.2 million for this year, and will of course increase again next year, notwithstanding Brexit. And provided we keep the economy on track and the public finances in good condition, that can continue into the years ahead. It is of course not the government's money, it's taxpayers' money, your money, but I think everyone believes it's money well spent. And we're working with voluntary organisations across the country, including St Francis Hospice, to open more specialist palliative care beds in many locations across Ireland. In the past 5 years, the number of hospice beds has increased by 50%, which is extraordinary if you think about it. And over the next 5 years, we plan to increase it by a further 50%, ensuring that hospice care is available in all parts of the country. There are now 223 specialist palliative care beds in 11 locations nationwide in Ireland, and we've plans to open 6 more units in the next few years, in Mayo and Wicklow, in Waterford and Drogheda, and they're built already, in Cavan, and also in the Midlands. And that means many more people being able to access hospice care services close to where they live. And it also has the benefit of freeing up acute beds in our hospitals for their intended purpose. While things are far from perfect and we have many challenges ahead, particularly when it comes to the sustainable long-term funding of the sector, Ireland is nonetheless now a leading country when it comes to the development of palliative care. And that has come about thanks to a long-standing positive working relationship between the voluntary and government sectors, the work of our medical specialists, nursing specialists and therapists in that field in particular. As many of you will know, Saturday is International World Peace Day, and the theme this year is Climate Action for Peace. And climate change is one of the biggest challenges that our planet is facing. It's a global threat and also an intergenerational challenge. But we can overcome it, as we have many environmental challenges in the past, whether it was saving the ozone layer or putting a stop to acid rain. And this year is also your 30th anniversary, and the 30th anniversary of John Paul II's speech on World Peace Day. He spoke of your patron and reminded the world of the care and respect St. Francis believed must be shown to our natural world. And today St. Francis is the patron saint of ecology and the environment, and we're trying to follow in his footsteps. So what better way to mark the commitment of hospice volunteers and staff than by planting a majestic and lasting monument from nature, a magnolia tree. And over the centuries, magnolia flowers have come to symbolise dignity, hope and steely perseverance. And these are the 3 words that sum up your work and the legacy of St. Francis Hospice: providing hope to those in despair, dignity to those who are suffering, and persevering no matter how difficult things may become. I think as well trees have a symbolic value, and it's worth planting them for other reasons as well. We want to see many more trees planted across the country, and we've set the ambitious target of planting 440 million new trees across Ireland between now and 2040. They bring unique benefits in terms of our emotional well-being, and they also renew and protect the environment, reduce greenhouse gases, help curb pollution, reduce sound pollution, and also flooding and soil erosion. So I hope other hospitals and nursing homes and other public bodies throughout the country can integrate tree planting into their landscape designs, and also consider developing wild gardens and wildflower meadows on their grounds as well. We need to reduce our greenhouse gases and greenhouse gas emissions to help stabilise the climate for future generations, but it's about other things too, and much more immediate benefits: cleaner air, warmer homes, and creating the jobs and businesses of the future. And we also need to work with others internationally, particularly developing economies, to stop climate change. Finally, I want to thank the management, staff and volunteers of the hospice, past and present, for your energy and devotion in providing professional, inclusive and a caring environment here. You've served our community with distinction, and today we plant the seeds of a magnolia tree and will watch with interest its growth and transformation in the years ahead. Another saint, Saint Basil, once said that a tree is known by its fruit, a person by their deeds, and a good deed is never lost. And if you sow courtesy, you reap friendship, and if you plant kindness, you gather love. And to all the volunteers and staff here today, I have a simple message. Your good deeds, your kindness, gather love, and will never be lost. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Taoiseach, for your very thoughtful and sincere words. We now come to the time when we're going to actually plant the magnolia tree. I'm going to invite the Taoiseach and one of our volunteers, Marie Norton, she's going to actually be one of the volunteers. We've over 300 volunteers working between both hospices, and Marie is going to be one of those volunteers that's going to be specially assigned to look after this tree. So I'll invite Marie and the Taoiseach to plant the tree. Thank you.
Anybody else want to go?
Oh yeah.
Go ahead, Vincent. Get a group of people who we have and Jeremy. And Marie. And we'll just do that and then. Marie, would you mind coming down here a little bit, please?
Yeah.
Perfect. That's lovely. Come in front of the tree a little bit. Try and put that branch behind. Put that branch behind you a little bit. That's it. That's lovely. Come in. That's it. Okay. That hasn't done much work. Everybody looking back at the camera there.
It's very wet, isn't it?
From the back, 1, 2, 3. Arms in the air and everything, come on. I need to do better than that. Come on, one more, 1, 2, 3. And last one, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can go up and then you guys can just turn around.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Everybody with it. Everybody